And we are live with Call, Jaming, Painting, and Drywall. Finally. Yeah, dude. Yes, a long time no see.
Hey, buddy, what's happening?
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good to meet you today. That was perfect timing. We were trying to do this anyways, and then I ended up being in Ottawa.
It was awesome, man. It was great. A lot of buildup, man. It was like, how can I can't even compare it to anything because you're the first person I've ever met on through Instagram in person. This has been a year. It's been officially a year this week that I've been on Instagram, and you're the first person I've ever actually met physically, which has been, it was a little strange at first, but then once I like accepted, I'm like, fuck, dude, just chill out, man. It's all good.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was amazing, man. It was just, I kept looking at you, just thinking like, holy fuck,
There
he's
he is.
real.
There he is right there. Yeah. Oh
And
man.
then you wonder why I was always fucking pinching you. I'm like, I just want to make sure you're real, man.
Yeah, man. Um, yeah, it
Uh,
was a good time too, man. I mean, doing those tool demonstrations, like I love doing that. I never really have the time to do it anymore. So like when Aaron calls and or Caden calls and they're like, "Hey, do you want to jump in and give me a hand?" I'm always like, "Yeah."
yeah, you're the right guy for it, man. You do a good job at it. You take your time and you know what you're talking about, man. Good demonstrator. I thought you did an awesome job.
I thought I did a pretty good job.
Yep.
If you try and like, it's very hard to like explain something technical very basically.
Yeah.
But I think everybody picked up what I was putting down, which was good. Just
Yep.
like basic understanding of things and like, yeah, you had a couple of good questions. There were a couple of good questions that were handed out in that first meeting. That was like strictly the heads of the business. It was great. Like Caden is getting so good at that.
Oh, big
Um,
time, man. That kid's smart, man. He was a pleasure to meet too, man. I was just like, if everyone's like my first two meets, sorry to get off track, but this is gonna be a fucking amazing adventure. Sorry for my language. Anyone that thinks I don't swear, I
oh,
fucking do.
I fucking knew. Yeah, no worries about the language on here.
Right on, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I had the same kind of thing, right? Like, I started meeting people and it was just like, wow, there's no way that the next person I meet is going to be that cool. And then you just meet the next person, you're like, wow, there's no way the next person I meet is going to be that cool. Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of my best friends now are from Instagram, and I mean,
Yeah.
growing up, you think you had really good friends, really tight friends, and like I did. Um, but I mean, you move into a part of your life where you're now a business owner, you found like your niche, what you're good at, what you're passionate about, and then it's real hard because like those, you grow apart with your friends, especially when you're busy,
Yep.
and definitely in my first year of business, it would be like, hey, why don't you come over for beers? And, why can't you stay all night? And it's like, well, I got to be on site in the morning. And,
Yep.
typically the answer is, but aren't you your own boss? And, you could take the day off and, don't worry about it. And then you start meeting more like-minded people and they're just like, oh, yeah, man, no, get in there tomorrow early and kill it. And it's like, when you start surrounding yourself with people like that, you can start doing some pretty cool shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also makes the bank account look a little nicer.
No shit.
Yeah. It's a nice, you're right, man. It's like when you have kids, right? And you got your buddies and you got to kind of say like it's almost the same fucking thing. Like you're getting into your business and you start really falling in love with it and it becomes like just like when your kids were babies,
Mhm.
and you have to make, if you're a responsible guy, I'm a responsible guy, we're both driven.
Yeah.
And when you got that, man, you just fucking you got to put other things aside and then people that are on the boat, your real good friends will understand and stick around, and the ones that, Party Bob and Party Billy there, they can keep fucking partying and while you're making money and they're spending and you're earning.
Yeah. And I mean, I take a look now at like my real good friends from before the business, and I could probably tell you exactly what they did last week,
Yeah.
like pretty well to a fucking T.
Yeah.
And then when you meet back up with them, they're like, hey man, what have you been up to? And it's like, how much time do you got? Like,
Yeah.
because I'm all over the place doing all kinds of shit, and it's like constantly changing, and you're flying all over the place, you're traveling, you're doing all kinds of crazy stuff, you're meeting new people all the time, and it's just like It's like you left them in the dust.
Yeah, it's true, man. Well, you're on fire, dude. Like fuck, until somebody douses you out, which won't happen. You're on fire, man. You just fuck, let her burn, bud.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and it's cool, man, because it's like just about anywhere I go now, there's somebody there. You know,
Yeah.
like we're going to Ottawa out of a fluke, and I'm like, oh, I know a guy in Ottawa. You
Oh
know,
yeah, I wasn't missing that, bro. I wasn't
no.
missing that.
Well, and I kind of thought that I was going to try and like get out to dinner with you the night that I came in, or like maybe like a late lunch before I left or something. But you're like, no, I'm going to come to the thing. I'm going
Oh
to,
hell yeah.
and that was dope, man. And it also shows support.
Yes.
You know, we're there for Columbia Tools. We're kind of showing support, and then when other people from the community show up, like when we do a fresco event, and there's like 10 of us there.
Yeah.
And then when somebody else kind of comes in to check it out that we don't know, they're like, oh, there's like a group of people here and they're all cool.
Yeah.
It's very welcoming.
Yes, man. It was surreal, man. It was you made my month, bud. Like just it was a like I'm just, like it's I can't be happier, man. It's just like it was just a real great day. It's it's nice to meet some good people. To be honest, like um I don't got friends, man. Like I
Yeah.
years back I grew up, I was a hockey player, and I was popular most of my life, like, going through school and stuff, and started a family real young, had the same thing kind of happen, had my friends, they all wanted to get after it. I mean, it's hard to do that when you're went through a couple, breakups and shit in my younger
Mhm.
days, and everything just really affected me. And I had some friends like fuck me over, like, and I'm the type of guy, I don't know if it's the Irish in me or what, but like I just got like it's like I got tired of fucking people, man. I'm just like, I don't trust
Yeah.
people. I don't even want to put any effort into like even my wife and I, like we're each other's best friends, but I like until I got doing this, I was like, holy fuck, there is good people out there, man. And it's like, you know, yeah, it's been weird, man. So it's like for me, even like just sitting down as bros, like it's been a lot of years since I've sat down with the bro, right? But like I was like, you can just imagine me back in my day. I was fucking life of the party. I was like, just
Same.
good. You same with you. Good time. Fucking. We have a lot, so many similarities, and it was just that. So it was extra special for me. Like not to. I'm an open book. I'm an honest guy. I'm not. I
Yeah.
don't fucking bullshit. I go right up the fucking middle each time, and that's what I don't get time to swerve and fucking and tell some bullshit and all that. It just kind of it's yeah it's but yeah. So that part's been real nice, bro. That's thank you for that. I
Well,
really appreciate everything.
we kind of talked about that today at lunch where it was like, I'm just decided one day I'm just going to be me. And it's like, if I'm not your cup of tea, you're probably not my cup of tea. And
Yeah,
let's just, that's fine. We don't have to be rude to each other, but like,
yeah,
let's try not to spend too much time together because we don't fucking like each other. And,
yeah.
and that group is becoming smaller and smaller. I've very rarely run into somebody that I rub them the wrong way. I think they understand where I'm coming from and that it's
Oh
very
yeah,
honest.
yeah,
And, you know, if you're around other honest people, it's easy, you know, and I there's a lot of like people want to be a part of something. And when they don't have
yes,
like a community like we've kind of built, they like want to be a part of dividing lines stuff. And I avoid that like the plague. Like
yeah, man,
if I have to choose one side or the other, I'm not doing it.
yeah,
Like that's just not for me. That's a game somebody else wants to play, and they're more than welcome to.
yeah,
And you know, the more you act like that, the more people that you meet like yourself and the rest of the people in the community, and it's just the best, man. And
yeah,
in like the last year and a half, it's been wild. Because
yeah,
it's like, who else wants to come hang out? And you think that nobody's going to put their hand up, and then there's too many hands up, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, so how do we narrow this down? You know?
yeah. And the good thing with social media, I find too, is just letting everything happen naturally.
Yeah,
Like the people, I mean, like there's 40 people I talk to on the regular. I don't know, I'm 40. Just there's a
yeah,
bunch of
a
them, but
bunch.
there's only a select few that I really like. I look forward to it, or we chat, and it's like what I mean. Like you're
Hmm.
definitely one of them, Nate. Like there's my buddy Justin out in Boston. There's a bunch of them. I won't go down the list, but only a real few special guys, right? That you can kind of, but that's just basically like it's like when you're at high school or and you're meeting your friends and you gravitate to certain people. We all gravitate to each other. It's not by
Mhm.
accident. It's not because, oh, look at this guy, Sean, man. He's got this. You're pretty much the king of the freaking group, right? Like, but it's like people, you know what I'm saying? Not the king, but like, you're a leader, man. Like you're people look up to you, right? I look up to you. A lot of people do. And but that's not the reason, man. I like you because we've like I'm too fucking old to say this word, but we vibe well together, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's important with the whole. But yeah, the community it's phenomenal, man. It's so cool, really neat.
It's always weird to hear that where it's like, because that's come up a bunch of times where it's like that leadership role. I seem to have fallen into it.
Yeah,
Um, but I think it's just like I care. You know what I mean? Like I want to make sure everybody's taken care of. If somebody's down, I want to make sure like, is this something that could be like helped by the group?
yeah,
Like, is this something that's foolish that we can help with? Or like, is this a big thing? And like, how do you navigate that? Do you want help navigating that? Do you just like want to vent? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because I have like 15 minutes really helps people. And then
yeah,
there are people that want to like kind of suck in that extra time just for like some attention, but those types of people don't tend to stay.
yes.
You smell that out pretty quickly, but um yeah, I don't know, man. It's just it's this all happens so fast.
What's it
It
been like 3 years, 2 years? Like what?
two
How long?
years. Well, no, my company's been open for 3 years, but I mean the podcast is only like a year and a half, and that's when I really started talking about community.
Holy
And
shit, eh?
like it's wild. Yeah, like
Yeah,
internationally people know about the community that we're building and they think that it's cool. Like,
yeah.
yeah, man, it's dope. That Sprinter van you got is unbelievable. You
Thank you,
got
man.
you got it wrapped. It's like it's you. It is like a billboard of you and it's dope. I think that's such a smart move for a businessman.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
yeah. My wife's a big part of that idea. She kind of hooked all that up with me together, and yeah, man, we're like I said, well, I actually said this before, but you and I think we talked about school and that, but I
Mhm.
was a real, I was smart as a young fellow. I always knew I was intelligent, but I just knew that I have a hard time finding my place or what I wanted to
Mhm.
do and what, right? So I never regret going into the trades, and that's all. When you're young and you don't want to do school, man, you don't have a lot of fucking choices, you know. So you want to paint a fence, you want to start doing something like, I started as a painter and turned into to a taper when I was around 20, and fucking raised lots of kids through it, man. Just it's absolutely what I love and enjoy. I'm getting sidetracked. Where the hell was I starting with this? Who knows?
It doesn't
But
matter. That's the key with this podcast. It just that path just goes wherever it goes, dude.
yeah, the pretty much. But yeah, no, yeah, it's interesting, man. Like I said, it's how life kind of takes its path and how things kind of go in that. And but yeah, it's a journey.
So you've kind of been playing this game for like 20 years.
Yeah, I'm in I think my 27th or 28th year. I doing the racket, man. Like I said, I started out as a painter, and I kind of told my story to Nick real quick. Did you want to hear a bit of it, or
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about, man.
yeah, yeah? So
Just
basically,
yeah,
go
keep
ahead.
in mind that anybody that's listening to this has listened to Nick's.
Yeah, okay. So
But that's
yeah,
cool,
basically, I'll
man.
leave that. No, no, that's all good. It's basically yeah, but I did start as a painter. We'll do the Coles Notes version.
Yeah.
Started out as a painter. Got really interested into taping and that in my 20s, and started going hard towards like started doing lots of basements and did a few houses. Use like semi-automatic tools. I use half that, half hand. Like I'm a real good
Yeah.
hawk and trowel guy. You see me running on a hawk, like I love running a hawk and trowel big time. And I'm good with the hand knife. I can run. I was taught to do the angles one side at a time, right? Like
Right.
I'm doing the mirror side, one side, mirror side, one side. You get crisp angle. It takes a long time, but all that I learned from a lot of old timers, like my craft, and never did any schooling, man. Never just. But I always, since I was little, no matter what I ever did, I always wanted to be the best at it. When I played hockey as a
Mhm.
kid, I had to be the best on the team. When I did anything, I like even right now, like right now, I want to be the best I want to be the best popcorn ceiling removal guy in Ottawa,
Mhm.
and I'm sure I'm there or close to it, but yeah, so I always had that ambition to be the best, and same in business, man. Like I went through my rough spots in my younger days, man, like doing jobs, and like I'd hate to go back to look at some of them, to be honest,
Yeah.
but
We've
you
all been
grow,
there.
man.
We've all
You've been
been
there.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, but you stick with it, and like anything, and it's like muscle memory. You put the time in and the effort, and then it becomes rewarding. And like I'm 46 now, but it's a lot more rewarding at 46 than it was at 26. Tell
for
you that.
sure. Yeah, when you said I want to be the best, there was this like ego part of me for a long time. And I kind of converted from that to like I want to do my best, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. Because at the end of the day, even if I fail, but I know that I put my full effort in, I did my best and it blew up in my face, I'm okay with that.
yeah,
That like chasing I'm better than Bob or Frank or whatever, it doesn't do me any good. It like becomes competitive and then I kind of lose track of what I'm doing.
yeah.
So I've been fortunate to kind of stomp that out a little bit. Um, I talk about ringing the bell where it's like, did you kill it today? Even if it didn't go well, like, did you, did you do your best? And that's kind of it. And it's just a nicer way to live. And then I feel like when you start living like that, you start winning.
Hell
And
yeah,
yeah, it's a good
yeah.
deal.
My my biggest thing is I've always been a helpful person, and I've always been a giving
Hmm.
person. I'm the guy that, yeah, in a way, you'd almost think that I bought things in life, but it's just that I'm really giving. I
Yeah,
really haven't, but like I'd be at the club with the boys back in the day, right? And I'd be the guy buying the 40 drinks for the table, and just like
same.
for one, because it made me feel good. And it was, a little bit of self-confidence issues. Obviously, you're trying to want to be the hero, right? And
Yeah.
but I don't know, man. It was a little bit of that, and just always been giving and kind. I grew up like kind of gaslit from like my family, right? Like my parents
Mhm.
and stuff, like without getting too much into it, just some people have great parents, some people don't, like, and I love my parents, but definitely that's another story. But it just, so a lot of it had to do with that. But once I started kind of breaking free from that nonsense and realizing that, holy shit, man, people actually do think I'm a great person, and people
Hmm.
like think I'm kind. And you actually start realizing that the whole time in your life, you've actually something that you've known inside that you have in you, but people keep trying to light your fire down because they see you rising above them.
Hmm.
And it's really sad, man. And sometimes people that love you the most will hurt you the most just because of shit like that. And I've had a lot of grief and stuff over stuff like that. And the type of guy I am, like you see me online and how I am and this and that, that's how I actually am. I've been my whole life. Like I'm the exact same type of guy. So I care about people, man. Like straight up, I really do care about people. I wish I could help a lot of people in the world. I just really love people, man.
Yeah, I was like the first 2 years of business. I wish that I could see the amount of hours that were spent like helping and like just see a collection of them all and like then see who deserved it. And then
Yes.
and then you kind of you would be in awe where somebody gives you some bullshit line or a customer or whatever and it's like you don't even know if it's true half the time but it's like what I could totally do good here. I think I'll do that. And it just sometimes it shoots you in the foot, but you do, like you said, you get that good feeling when you do things like that. And when you start to narrow down and you're doing good things for people and you know that they deserve it, it's like that's a great feeling.
Yes.
Just like helping out or like spending that extra time to explain something to somebody. Like it's that kind of stuff too, right? And I've been given that kindness in the past, especially when I needed it. And it's like you've got to kind of pay that forward.
Yes. Big time.
A- and it makes a difference. When like you said, when you care about people, it's like you legitimately want them to win.
Yeah.
And when you surround yourself by people that you want to win, you just seem to win too.
Yes, it's
It
true, man.
Yeah, it's a cool deal, man.
I think it's a small percentage of people that actually do think that way, though. Like
Hmm.
people that actually, because you think of how many times you hear a good thing, or you're around somebody and you see the reaction when they hear it, and they kind of, oh, that's good. Oh,
Hmm.
and that's they're bothered by it because like either they're jealous by it or the human. But there's only a select amount of people that will actually be happy. Like if you told me, like for example, I don't know, we're both living in Toronto area and we both looked at the same house and you got it. like you priced it for 22 grand, I was 21,
Hmm.
and or vice versa, sorry. And I'd be happy you got it. Like
Same.
I'm that type of guy. Like I'd actually like I would or that's a bad example, but just in
No, I
different
know what you
ways you
mean
have
though,
to.
because it's like at least
Yeah,
somebody on the team won.
that's it, man.
Yeah, and
That's
I'm
it.
cool with that all day long.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
to help people.
those people that kind of like you're saying they see you winning and they're not a big fan of it. Those are the people that like typically they'll give you two compliments and then the third one's like a backhanded compliment, or like they'll give
Yes.
you two compliments and the third comment's a knockdown. And oh,
Yes.
just joking, man. Ha ha ha. It's like, yeah, but you're not. And you can go.
Yeah, it's usually the one that actually is the one they meant to say the
Yeah, that's the
most,
real
right?
one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh shit. Yeah, it's
I'm
so true, man.
excited for you to come down and see CSR.
Oh, I can't wait, dude. I applied to for their ambassador program. I'm
Yeah.
hoping to do that and stuff too, just to kind of, be in with you guys. Because a lot of guys are right now, like I've had like 4 or 5 people reach out to me that have bought level 5 tools just from watching me on videos, right?
Hmm.
That's why it's like and I have no code to give them because as a level 5 ambassador in Canada, in Canada you can't buy direct from them
Oh.
on their, yeah, because you have to be American to be able to buy. So you have to buy through CSR, which is great. But I'd love to be able to give people my code. I could have given 5 codes out right now for,
Hmm.
for that. I think 4 to 5 of them got it from CSR anyway, because that's where people get stuff from. But yeah, so stuff like that. But yeah, I can't wait, man. I've been wanting to go to CSR, and you know what? I was in Barrie last year. My son had a hockey tournament, and I actually fell in love with Barrie because I lived in Borden as a kid on the base, right?
I okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was, oh man, I played minor hockey all around there. I still got a bunch of like a thing of newspaper clippings from like playing all the towns around. You know all the names like
Yeah, like
oh, I can't
Alistair
remember
and
the,
Angus and
yes, Angus, something with a C. I can't remember the tournaments, but I was a good little player around there when I was a little guy, man. I'd make the paper all the time, and yeah, I have great memories. So anyways, my Sonny boy, who you see on the videos, he had a hockey tournament there, and so him and I went up, and it was start of December this past year, and and I knew there was a CSR in
yeah,
Barrie, but we were there over the weekend. I was just like, oh God, I should have timed it better to be able to go in.
yeah,
I'd do some shopping.
yeah, they're closed. And I like that they're
Yeah,
closed. It's like, they could run that store Saturday, Sunday, but if you really took a look at what you would get as opposed to having it closed financially, to the fact that
yeah,
you're now going to make the people that work for you work the weekend, like I've always said this, that some of my favorite companies, almost all of my favorite companies, don't make sense on paper.
yes,
It's like, why would you not be open 7 days a week? And the answer is because, like, get your shit together. Like, come in on Friday if you need something for Saturday because we're closed. Every once in a while, I'll find myself in a position where I'm just like, I need a new filter for my mask or something. And like, so go to Home Depot once a month,
yeah,
or something like that. Or you can order it online, and they're so quick, man, to get stuff to you. Like it is a well-oiled machine over there for sure. But yeah, it's a bummer when you're so close and
yeah.
then you can't go in.
I
Um,
can't wait, man. I'm really excited to hoping to come down like I was telling you for a few days, like to
mhm.
visit you guys and spend some time and meet some more people and stuff like that too. And yeah, I'll definitely be coming up whenever the dates are for that. You'll let me know when the Black Friday is and
Yeah.
stuff. I'll,
It's so 22nd of November.
yeah.
That's when Black Friday is going to be, and that's in Vaughan. Um, we've now kind of started talking about maybe getting a house after,
Okay.
like, to work in.
Okay.
So, people that are flying in or driving in, or like Cam, for instance, he's going to come up for probably 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So do you have him come to site and work for 1 or 2 days, and it kind of like it's some money towards the trip that he just took?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's a
yeah,
good idea.
yeah, I think that's going to be an idea. We're going to look into it, and like sometimes things line up and sometimes they don't. But I think that'd be cool. Anybody
Yeah.
that was traveling, because that's half the fun for me. Like I had traveled with Cam like half a dozen times before we actually taped together. like we did a bunch of fresco work and like we did a bunch of like marketing stuff, like Instagram stuff together, but like we never
Yeah.
ran the tools with each other till like this year.
Holy shit, eh?
Yeah, man, because like we were doing specialty stuff with the fresco and like we went to Vegas, we did all that kind of stuff, but like we never were taping houses. Um and when you it's what you love to do, it's fun to do it with people, right? So
Oh yeah.
um I thought that would be neat to just I love getting a bunch of different people on site that haven't worked together and just it's like a playground, right? And when
Yeah.
you have too many bodies on site, you're not killing yourself. You're just kind of like everything's got to get coded, let's do it. Or and you're kind of dicking around too. Like we get Steve and Nate on sites at the same time and
Yeah.
we just all hang out. Like
That'd be so cool.
oh yeah, it's like those days you typically go for a nice breakfast or lunch. Like it's not a big stressful day. There's
Yeah.
always this thought of like, we're going to get so much done today. And we just fucking never do because it's like you're just having so much fun with your buddies, right?
Oh, I see you and Nate that one time. I caught the piss thing right away. I heard you say, "I got to piss," on the one it was on. I think on his story or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I heard it right away. I was like, "Oh, I wonder if he knows." He said he had to piss in the back.
No. And so I'm listening to it later and I message him. I'm just like, I must have had to piss. Oh no, I think I put it on my stories. That was like, obviously I had to piss or whatever. That was a great podcast, man. Like
Yeah,
he came down, we went for sushi, had a bunch of good conversation.
yeah.
Had one of those THC drinks, had a couple of beers, and then we sat down, did like 2.5 hours or something like that. And then the audio was off. And
Oh,
I was like, crap. Because it was a really good podcast. I would almost say that it was better than the one we recorded. Just
really? I
well,
listened to
just
that one. I listened to it too, the whole thing.
it was good.
Yeah, it was good,
uh,
man.
a lot of it was reiterated. Like we were bringing stuff up that made sense the first time.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it was still a good one, man. Like
Oh yeah.
Aaron's out traveling. He called me on my way home.
Yeah.
Probably talked for like an hour or whatever, 40 minutes. And
Yeah.
we just kind of caught up everything that was going on. And he's just like, yeah, driving 6 hours today or whatever. And he's like, I put on your and Nate's podcast and I had the time to listen to it. It's like, okay, cool, man. I the the first real long one like that was with Duratech, like with Hayden, and I was like,
I
no,
listened
but
to that one.
nobody's gonna listen to this fucking thing. It's 3.5 hours, and 100%, a bunch of people did, and when you get into long form conversation like that, you can go on a tangent about a bunch of different things, and there's no time requirements. And if you're just hanging out with a buddy,
Yeah.
it's cool, man. Cam called me too on the way home. When I get down to Columbus, we're going to road trip over to pick up Danny from the airport.
Yeah.
And Cam was like, wouldn't it be cool to go live for like an hour and just shoot the shit in the car? And
That would
then
be.
it's gonna be dope. Right. So he's gonna put his camera forward so everybody sees where we're driving. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my camera pointed at us, and then I'll be able to read all the fucking chirping comments and like answering questions. And I think it's going to be a blast, man.
What day is
Um,
that? I got to put it in my mind. What day would it be?
Sunday.
Sunday? Okay.
Yeah. So Sunday, I'm going to leave here like 6 in the morning, something
Okay.
like that. And then as long as I get down to Cam for like 1 or 1:30, I think is what we're aiming for. And then we've got to get across to Danny, who I think lands at 5:30. So we're going to aim to be there for 6.
Okay.
But there's no pressure. Like it's he can wait for half an hour, or if we're early, we'll wait. Like it's we're going to see our buddies. It's not like a big pressure situation. But yeah, when Cam said that, I was like, dude, what a
Yeah.
great idea.
Oh man,
Yeah.
he'd be a good guy to sit down and just chill with, man, too. Like just us all get together and just that
Oh,
could be it. He'd be a riot, man. Nate
Cam's
too,
a
man.
Cam's the best. Yeah, and same with Nate. Like, I mean, I always say the best, like this person's the best, but we all are. Like
Yeah.
that's why we all get along so well. And it's like there's never a wince of like, okay, well, like for instance, that fresco event, Cam and Wes came up and stayed with me here
Yeah.
for like almost a week. Uh, and I knew that Nate was there and Steve was there, and they met Hayden, like kind of everybody.
Yeah.
And there's never a thought of like, man, I don't think these two people are going to get along, or like you think they will and they don't. Like that's never happened in a year and a
Yeah.
half of like mishmashing all your buddies together. Everybody just gets along, and it is crazy.
What are you gonna do
Uh,
when there's one, man? Like, imagine the one kind of comes along. You guys would just be devastated.
we will be devastated. Yeah.
Get a
But
mole. You get a mole come in.
but I think that kind of stuff happens pretty quick. Like it's like,
You can tell, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
where you're like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
And some people do. Then there have been people that have come in and have either kind of been a shithead in the past and then apologize and now everything's different, and then 2 weeks later they're back to their old shit
Yeah.
again, or whatever. It fishes out pretty quick, man, because it's not like you got a bunch of like shady people all trying to pretend to be something. You got a bunch of people being themselves, and then one of these things is not like the other. It happens pretty quick.
Yeah.
um and I don't think anybody's ever been asked to like leave or go away. I think they just get the, do you know what I mean? Y- yeah.
Oh shit, man. But yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun learning. It's fun talking behind the scenes a bit, right? Just like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I like doing that too, and just kind of because I'm so like honest to God, if I look like I even know what I'm doing at all, I really don't. Like I'm trying my best, but it's like it's fun, and I mean like I overdo the content, and I'm just like I just don't give a shit. I'm like it's my own page. If people if they think I'm putting too much shit on, just hit the unfollow. You know that if you don't like it, whatever, shit. You know I don't care. I was happy to hit 1,000 followers, man. I'm still happy. So anything over a
Huge.
thousand is just I'm cool with the just 1,000 even.
Yeah.
Perfect. Like I hit my goal.
That's a solid following, man. When I hit 500, I was like, man, it'd be cool to be at 1,000. And then, like once you hit that 1,000, it seems to like kind of snowball pretty quickly. But I don't ever want to have a massive follower base,
Me
because
neither.
the percentages of like idiots once you get into a couple of thousand, it's higher than 1,000. Like, you know what I mean? And things have been going so swell so far. It's like, why, for what? Um,
It's overwhelming, even
it
with
would
my
be
amount of
so
followers.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
Uh, I when people talk to me or like comment or ask questions, I really want to get back to everybody. And if I have my phone on me and I'm not like in the middle of like a pail of 90 or something, I'll stop and, yeah, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Somebody's taper's acting up, or like they've got a question about a product, or like what are your thoughts on this, or like your music was dope today or whatever. And like you legitimately want to get back to people, but like I always revert back to Teak, where she's got like 50,000 followers. Like, how could you possibly keep up with that? And,
Yeah.
probably 50% of it is like idiots. So then
Yeah.
you got to fish through the idiots to find everybody else. And it's just like, it would just be a nightmare, because I would feel guilty not getting back to everybody.
I mean, I'm the
Um,
same way. I have to go through to make sure I liked everything. I'm
yeah.
triple checking, I don't want to offend anyone, right?
When you were saying that you post too much, I almost mentioned that first little while when I started following you, of like, man, if you're taking a bunch of content every, in a day, you don't have to post it all. You can keep it, for like a day that you don't, but you do, it's like every day anyways.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's like, no, open those floodgates,
Always.
dude. As long as you're hitting it every day, who gives a shit how many? And
Yeah.
it's like a good marketing tool for you too. Like, you're very
Oh
good
man.
at doing like commercials almost.
Yeah.
Your name is always dropped a couple of times. You know what I mean? Like, it is very brand specific. It's got to be doing good things for you.
Oh,
Uh,
big time, man. Like
yeah,
if I told you the dollar amount,
working.
like yeah, I don't have the algorithm or whatever the hell you call that
Yeah,
shit figured out to get the big views and that, but I got to figure out how to get the big money.
yeah. Well, and
Not
that
big money, but good. Like it's you know what? Instagram is probably would you say doubled or almost doubled our business, man? Like
Wow.
that. So the thing that a lot of people like now that I'm getting kind of buds and stuff on there, like to be honest with you, all my content is directed right at my clients. I have a lot of clients on that are my followers, right? Like I figure about 30% of my people on there are either people I've worked for that are scouting me to possibly work for them.
Nice.
So I talk to a lot of actual potential and clients. I have advertising on there. I spend about $500 a month on advertising, that
That's
not much,
smart.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so I got an ad going. So when people they pick up if you're in your kitchen and you're talking to your partner about we gotta get this popcorn. Who do we call? Instagram just pops it into their Dropbox and because they hear them
Nice.
talking about popcorn. And yeah, we get like I mean, I just, it's crazy, dude. Like so it's really beneficial and it's mostly for that, but on the side I'm getting to experience all these great people. That was a bonus
Mhm.
because I was really on there for the marketing part of it, right?
It's funny how you stumble into that.
Yeah, like
Um,
literally, like boink,
yeah, I thought Columbia Tools was cool. I thought it was like skateboarding. It was something I was never going to be able to do, but I really appreciated it because I got it. Like I understood the art of it.
Yeah,
And it, I would post something and then eventually Columbia would repost on their stories and like I would do a backflip. And then eventually they were like, how about you run some angle heads next month to do some content? And I was like, get out of here. And
that's
it
awesome.
just kind of started to snowball a little bit where it's like, okay, I'm going to start making content because I think that's cool. And then again, like out of the blue, you start making good friends. And it was like this byproduct. It's funny how it's not like you're going to the playground to make friends.
Yeah,
Like it's like you're going to do something like you have an objective, and then as a byproduct of that, you start meeting awesome people. It's a great place if you use it properly, I think. Like there's
yeah,
also people out there that just want to be negative and like do whatever they want to do, but they're not making friends. I'll tell you that. Not real
yeah,
ones,
man.
you know?
Well, they always say, man, good people will find and do find good people. Like they're good.
Yeah.
There is good people out there, it's hard. You got to sift through a lot of bullshit people to get to the good ones, but there's still people like I've always thought too, like even myself, I mean, this is it's kind of an arrogant thing, and I'm not too much of an arrogant person, but I'm always like, for someone to be my friend, like I would think that I'd be such a bonus in someone's life to have me as a friend. Like just to think, I don't know if you think the same way about yourself, but I would guess you do, right? Like you probably if that's just how I've always thought. So I'm like, I'm not gonna just give my friendship away to some fucking random loser that's just
Mhm.
gonna end up just because people like to leave people out, and there's all the feelings of different stuff like that. So I always thought, fuck, you know what? If I don't keep friends, I don't got to worry about any of that shit. But you
Yeah.
do miss it, right? Once you start experiencing it a bit, you start remembering how it felt, right?
I'm pretty specific for who I'm friends with. Like you know what I mean? Like from
Yeah,
a standpoint of like a person that makes content, that's very different than like being buddies with somebody.
yeah,
And I'm also one of those people that, like you said, where somebody who's like leaving people out of stuff or like something that I don't agree with, that pretty well hammers the nail for me. Where it's
yeah,
like it's not that you do it all the time, but I know you're capable of it now, and that kind of
yeah.
sucks. And it's
And a
just
lot,
the way that it goes, right? Because but it's way simpler. You know what I mean? Where it's
yeah,
like, um, when anybody brings up anybody, and I'm like, they're the best, man. They're solid. It's because I've never seen them do anything other than be solid.
yeah,
And people
really,
are, they've been put in positions to do stupid or shitty things, and they just don't. And those are friends. Those are real friends. And it's like you said, I kind of gave up on all that when I put my head down and started working. Because it's like I don't have time for that shit, and it's like I'll figure it out when I have time to figure it out. And
yeah,
along the way, it just kind of gravitates. You find people that are like really do want you to be better.
yeah.
Um,
Seriously, man.
and it's weird too. Like I think about Faith and Tyler. When the hell would I have ever met them? Like they're
Yeah.
they're like 15 years younger than me. And you know what I mean? Like it's just we live super far apart. Like that kind of the Gilbert sisters was the same thing. They came on the podcast very early, and you know, you get to know people and that kind of stuff. But that was really my go-to in the beginning of like, when would I have ever met them? Ever.
Yeah,
Like
no shit, eh?
and they're solid people, right? And it is really cool how that kind of stuff happens. I think the podcast is a big part of it too, where like you get to sit down with somebody for an hour or two and like talk to them. You get to know people, and then if they're
Yeah,
interesting, you keep in touch and stuff, and it's just the way that it goes. And
yeah,
the,
man.
you know, community gets a little bigger and a little bigger, and then when we do these events, like I would have never thought to fly in somewhere for an event for free. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense to do it, but we do that shit all the time now, where it's just
Yeah,
like, yeah, I'll be there.
that's cool, man.
Yeah, that exo suit, um, three separate times I went to CSR that week. We did the filming, and then we had the Vaughn one, and then we had the Barry one, and all of those locations are over an hour away from me.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, but it's like I don't even think twice about it. I'm like, yeah. And then you get a hold of whoever your buddies are around, and you're like, are you going too? And yeah, and then it kind of like turns into a thing. Like um we had a blast at the Barry location. Like there was
Oh,
like
I bet.
six of us just hanging out with like a brand new tool that you never seen, and I ended up getting to take it home for kind of a week, and
Sweet.
yeah, really kind of get to know it. And then I had to clean it because it was like this thing is like white, and when Katie gave it to me, it was brand new, and I'm like, oh dude, now let's get out the sponge and the toothbrush. um
Did you get it looking pretty good?
it's good, man. Oh yeah, yeah, I had it back to
Clean.
90%, we'll call it. um it got
Holy shit.
it got pretty sweaty, man. And
Yeah,
I was like kind of worried about it. I'm like, that's gross. And all of those, like anything that's touching you, comes right off of it super easy, right into the laundry.
that's
And
great.
oh, now before I threw it in the laundry, I messaged her like, so do you want to throw it in? Like, if I break this thing, I'm gonna feel like shit. And she's like, one of us has to do it, man. And if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. So and everything was fine. Everything turned out great. Um,
Yeah.
but oh
Oh,
yeah,
so you
that
actually throw it in the washing machine?
yeah, dude. So it comes with a
The whole,
bag. No, no, no. So
oh,
the skeleton part of it is different. But where your shoulder things are, there's two little like pins with like springs on them, and
okay.
two little clips come out. And then where the base is that wraps around your lower back, it's got like a turn at 90 degrees, and a little ball will pop out,
Yes.
and then the arm attachments are the same thing, and it comes with a mesh bag. You put everything in the mesh bag, throw it in the wash, done.
Holy shit, man.
It was cool, man. Yeah, and I obviously hung it to dry. I'm sure you can throw it in the dryer, but like overnight, it was perfect. So yeah, it was cool, man. It's a
Yeah.
pretty neat setup, man. The price point is where it is for sure,
Yeah.
but I mean, the way I look at that, you're only gonna buy it once. Like, what are they supposed to give it to you for $1,000? Like all the R
Yeah.
and D that went into it, and what it's kind of worth. Like, somebody wants to give you a pill for longevity of your back, you're gonna pay
Yeah,
for
that's
it, you know?
and you're talking to someone, man. I've been running that thing for a lot of years. Like that's
Yeah,
all by hand and like with extent up to 11 feet, man. I'll take it on the high stuff, right?
that's
And
crazy.
run it up. Yeah, my back. But you ask my wife about my back. Like there's a lot. Some nights I can't even hardly turn in bed, man. I'm so
Mm.
sore in the nights. You probably got the same thing, right?
I was in a car accident when I was younger.
Okay.
So it was like we were in stop and go traffic, and this woman rode off my car,
Oh, hey.
like plowed into me, and the guy like behind me, I think he was trying to warn me or something, and he hit his horn. But when I did that, I braced my one foot, and I like turned around to see what he was honking at, and then she plowed in. So I was in like the basically worst position you can be in to then
Oh,
be hit. So I trashed my back.
Holy shit,
So I kind
man.
of already have problems. But yeah, dude, some of these, like after I'm done, like those two houses back to back, I had 3 days kind of grace before the next one started, and I just felt like I got hit by a truck. Um,
Oh, big time.
I think mentally I can go, we have to be up tomorrow, we have to continue. But as soon as it's like, okay, we got the day off tomorrow, it's like my body knows, and it's like we're not doing nothing.
Yes. Feet up,
we're,
man.
we are feet upping.
Pizza's coming in, guaranteed.
Sushi is my go-to, man. We're like,
Okay, there you go.
I'll if I've got a day where there's not a lot going on and I don't have like running around to do or kids or anything like that, I call it having a sushi coma, where like I'll go in for all you can eat, stuff myself, and then come home and have a nap. It is the best thing
Oh,
ever. It's the best thing ever. I like it a
what's your
lot.
what's your go-to pizza place around you? Who do you get for pizza?
You know what? There's a little ma and pop shop around the corner. Now, I don't know if they're hemorrhaging money or they're making so much money that they're moving on, but it's switched ownership like 6 times since I've been here. It's like
Holy shit.
annually. But it's the exact same pizza every time. Like I keep going in there and I'm like, oh, these are new. That's a new voice on the fucking phone. Like this is gonna be the time it's fucked. And I'll get it home. I'm like, oh, it's the same. And it's so good, man. I like Domino's. I like pizza. I like pizza. I'm a Ninja Turtle kid, man, right? So it's like any kind of pizza I'm in, but those like around the corner ma and pop shops, I'm a big fan of those. You find a
Yeah.
good one, and yeah, I mean my go-to, I'll get like a thin crust, which isn't like paper thin, but it's not like thick.
Yep.
Um, Double pepperoni and green olives on half. I'll douse it with hot sauce. You can't beat it. I like it a lot. Yeah,
Sounds good. Minus the green olives. I'm not an olive. I don't like olives. I like
it's
Greek
very
olives.
salty. I like it.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, got the flavor going.
What's your go-to with pizza?
We got a place here called Louis. Like, there's a famous place in Ottawa, Louis, down in Vanier, and
Okay.
I think it's the Louis' brother or whatever. The two of them had it, so him and his son opened up this Louis Express over by us in East Ottawa, and I always like the meat lovers with hot banana peppers. The meat
Yes.
lovers,
When
and I
I'm
do the go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. And then they make like the homemade garlic sauce. So they gave like a friggin' thing like this of the homemade garlic
Mhm.
and the crust. So I don't know how they do it. They have like the garlic butter and then they put like a Romano Parmesan, like so that when you get down to the crust, it's like fucking like the freshest cheese sticks you could ever have in your life, man. And
That's
then
dope.
you hammer into the garlic sauce, and Bob's your uncle.
Oof. That meat lovers with the banana peppers is like my dad's go-to.
Okay,
So
man. There we go.
it is a solid choice of pizza.
Oh, just
Yeah,
the way that peppers like I'm a fucking pizza maniac. I love this
same.
is why I got the belly. Like
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
drink
it's a
beer
real
or nothing.
problem. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's an actual
Yeah.
yeah, there's no hiding it, right? She's there. And I gave up on dieting fucking years back, man. I got to the point I'm like, why am I wasting all this fucking time? Like I can
Yeah.
remember being like 10 years old. My parents said, "Jamie, you can have whatever you want from McDonald's." You know what I fucking wanted at 10 years old? Two Big Macs.
Wow. Yeah.
Literally. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
friggin' I couldn't eat I ate it one and a half and I put the other half in the fridge, probably lasted an hour and I got to her. So I mean, I thought food was such a big thought of mine as a kid, and I just like
Hmm.
I always knew that I'd be like I was always the husky kid, right?
Yep.
And I knew I, went through that and kind of, but I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I can work physically really well on the sites. Like I can, I can move good. I'm very in shape work wise. And I'm
Hmm.
like, what the fuck's the point? Like, what am I gonna do? Like go work 10-hour days or 12-hour days and then hit the gym for 2 hours and try to fit that in. It's like I'll just kind of stay how I am. And I just learned to just be happy with what I got on the frame, you know?
Yeah, when anybody starts talking about dieting or like the way they look or anything like that, my first question is, are you happy? Like if you're
Yeah.
happy with the way that you're living your life, then what's the fucking problem? Now,
Yeah.
if you are having health issues, I totally understand that. Like your machine is not working properly and you have to adjust. But if you're killing it and you like pizza, what's the problem with that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I get it. I was kind of into bodybuilding at one point. It's actually I was so fat at one point that I had no upper body.
Really?
Oh yeah, so I was like a pear, and I think I
Huh.
was 325 or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were like just smashing pizza and just like doing whatever that we wanted to do. And I was tying up my work boots one morning, and I woke up to my girlfriend going, "Did you pass out putting your boots on?"
Really?
Yeah, I get like because my belly was so big that I bent over, and as I was tying it up, I must have passed out, like I whatever. And I was
You
like,
choked
no,
yourself out.
yeah, we're fucking done with this.
Holy shit,
Yeah,
dude.
I bought a weight set, and then I got a little out of control. But
Yeah. Good for you though, man.
yeah, and but you kind of follow that path, and then you're like putting yourself in a caloric deficit, and you're like, like food becomes a miserable thing. Either you're eating way too much of it. Like I can remember eating 6 meals a day, and like you don't even want to eat anymore, but you
Yeah.
have to. Or like the things you want to eat, you can't. You know, if you're trying to lose or whatever, and it's just is such a ridiculous thing to me now that I think back
Yeah.
where if you're working hard and you're doing what you're doing and you're comfortable and you're happy, I don't think there's any problem with that. If somebody has a problem with that, they're probably not your people, you know?
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. It is different though. Like even growing up as a bigger guy, like you do get treated
Mm,
differently. And there's been a
100%.
one time I lost, I think it was around 80 or 90 pounds, man. And I was like running.
Whoa.
Yeah, like I was like, if you see me, man, like that was kind of like my height, went back to my high school and high school size. But I remember just like going into stores, man, and people like just talking to me differently. Like not everyone,
Mhm.
but enough where I'm that type of person. Like that shit would be in my mind. And like, it's almost like when being full of drywall and paint, there's some people that look at you when you're at a till paying for something like you're a slob, right? And I've been going through that since 1996, right? Like
Yeah.
the same shit. So, but you get used to it, but it's never fun. But that's how people are when you're overweight. Like if you're, I can't speak on a female's behalf,
Mhm.
but for a big fella, man, like we're like I'm treated differently in a lot of ways. Like just for not being like in shape or looking a certain way that people think that a man should look, right?
It
Like
kind of
almost like where I'm gross. Some people look at me like you're like I don't know if you ever get that feeling, but it's like holy fuck, man, I'm not gross. Like I'm just
Yeah, I think the people that act like that, it doesn't matter what it is. It's like your
Yeah,
shoes aren't right, your car's not the right one, your beard's too long or too short, like whatever it is. Those like judgy people are always going to be judgy. And I think that comes from a place of insecurity where
yeah,
they think they're better than everybody. They realize they're not. So they've got to kind of point out to themselves, yeah, all day long how they're better.
yes,
And I mean I do know what you're talking about because
yeah. You know it, man.
at a certain point in my life, like a bunch of my buddies were military guys, so they were like coming back from tour ripped, and I was this like fat idiot following them around. So it was like very clear that you were being treated differently. But I mean, it kind of is what it is. But like when you kind of start to realize where people's like shitty behaviors coming from, you almost just feel bad for them and you move on.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, you're right, man. That's it's crazy. People for the most part are pretty shitty, man. Like
it's crazy. I say
seriously.
80%. 80% of
Serious.
people are terrible.
I train my kids young to just honestly always expect the worst out of everybody you
Yeah,
meet. And if you get a little bit better, that's probably a really good person to make a friend with.
solid
Like,
win.
yeah, man, because like I'm straight up with my kids, man. Like they're raised like how we were raised. Like I don't I've never hit my kids. I don't I've
Yeah,
never just my voice is enough, never laid a hand ever, never would. But I raise them just like old school, man, and
yeah.
that's the way to do it. Get them working young, teach them about a dollar, you know, what hard work is. You don't try not to spoil them too much, like you do here and there, obviously, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there's a difference between giving kids what you think they've earned and like spoiling them.
yeah,
Um, like my son is like an overachiever. He's about as busy as I am, but he's got different hobbies and he's got goals and he's doing all that other kind of stuff. So like when it's our time, I'm just like, what do you want to do? And
yeah,
sometimes he's like, nothing. I'm like, okay. Like, well, we can do nothing. We can
yeah,
eat whatever you want. We can do whatever you want. And, but I tell him, like, the day things start to slide, it is going to change. Like
yeah,
that day, not like a warning, not like whatever. As soon as you stop giving a shit, I'm going to stop giving a shit about making you happy. Like,
yeah,
and that's always been the case. You want to act like an adult? I will treat you like an adult.
yeah.
But luckily, we've never had to
It's
see
true,
that
eh?
side of the coin yet.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for it. The last he's like 14 now.
Yeah, he's
And
in
said,
Italy, eh? I was here.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing. How did that all work out? Like, his mom's there with him, or
Yeah, so he's in private school and
okay,
his mom is highly educated.
okay,
And there was an offer to go
yeah.
through the private school and she found education out there for herself as well.
Oh, hey,
So it's making sense. It's only for a semester,
yeah.
so it's not the end of the world. And yeah, it's he wants to be an astrophysicist.
Holy
So
shit.
yeah, it's pretty heavy. But I think when you get into things that are that specific, there's going to be not enough slots for everybody that wants to get in. And you need to really have a resume behind you of like, do you give a shit? How hard do you try?
Yeah,
Like how many languages do you speak? What were your hobbies? Like how many instruments do you play? Like all that other kind of shit.
yeah.
He's not very musical, but he's like scuba dive certified. He does jujitsu, he does coding, he does like all these types of things. He's working on his third language now, and
Holy shit.
he's happy doing it. It's not like he's miserably being forced. So it's all come very naturally. So when these things come up, it's like it's gonna help you in the end, man. And it might suck the whole time that it happens. But it's probably not a bad idea. And he jumps in, man, with a big smile, and then he makes the best of it. Like he's having a fucking blast over there.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't imagine going to school in a place where nobody speaks the language. Like they do, because it's like um through the school. But I mean, trying to figure out how to order a fucking coffee, that they don't give a shit where you're from. Like we don't speak here whatever you're speaking. We speak Italian here. Um, yeah, it's I don't know, you just build that resilience, I think. When you're a happy person, it's you can make the best of whatever, man.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, you learn that over the years too. I always find like they always say too, I don't know, did I hear it on your podcast or about picture yourself 10 years ago? Or was that was on a CBC one, I think.
Yeah.
They say if you picture yourself 10 years back, so say when you're 28 and your
Jeez.
28-year-old sat down with yourself and you guys had a conversation, I bet you'd be completely different people, man.
Yeah, we wouldn't get along at all.
See what I mean? Like, isn't
Yeah.
that when you think that way? I listened to a lot of different podcasts, so they all kind of blend together. When you're working, you just kind of I like
Oh,
to get
totally.
zoned in and sort of thing. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, man. When I heard that, I thought that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, if I am getting after it, I need music. But if I'm
Yeah,
doing detail work, it's podcast. It's just enough that I can listen, I can be part of a conversation without having to speak, and it just kind of keeps your brain enough to keep it quiet.
yes, I'm
You
the
know what I
exact
mean?
same way. I'm identical,
Yeah,
man.
it's
Yeah,
perfect. And I mean, when you find a couple of good different ones, like it's like Rogan's always got people on that are fun, and then he's got people on that are talking about like issues and things that are happening in the world that I have no interest in.
yeah,
But you'll sit and listen to it, and you're like, oh, this is kind of neat. Or like I didn't even know this was a thing or whatever. Um,
yeah,
yeah, so if you like, so CBC, is that what you said?
yeah. It was on. what the hell podcast was I listening to? Oh, can you think of it, babe? Which one? It's not coming to me. I anyways, on one of mine
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah,
Can't
yeah,
think of it. But yeah, it was yeah, I thought that was interesting. I was like, yeah, 10 years ago, you probably would have not for one get along, and you'd be
yeah.
completely different individuals. And that's but it is nice, man. Even like now that I mean I'm 4 years away from 50, for Christ's sakes. I
Mm.
can't even saying that out loud sounds bizarre. I still feel like I don't feel like I'm 20, but it feels like it was yesterday that I was 20 years old, right?
Yeah, still young at heart for sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
definitely
yeah.
young at heart and super, super chill, man. But yeah, no, it's no, it's been a cool journey, man. Like I said, if you asked me a year ago, thinking I'd be sitting here doing all these things and that and learning everything, and I'm having a blast with it, man. Like I said, I know I do my own, I march to the beat of my own drum. I don't really follow any protocol, or I try to just do what I do, and I think that's what it's all about. If you're putting something out and people obviously are liking some of it, so I just kind of keeps me interested enough to keep doing it. And at the
Totally.
same time, I'm starting to be able to meet people in that, which has just been a fantastic thing. On top of it, it's like the cherry on the cake, right? So
Yes.
yeah,
Y-
which is really nice.
Yeah, and I mean, as everybody's businesses grow and stuff, like that's only a good thing. As like as friends, it's great. But as a business owner too, man, it's not a bad deal.
Oh yeah.
Making good connections with good people and doing all that kind of stuff. Like it's a pretty neat thing. I had no idea what Instagram was. And I just thought it was stupid. Like when it came out, I was like, so it's just pictures. And everyone's like, yeah, like that's dumb. Like it's like I'm never gonna do that.
Yeah.
Um
I was the
and
same.
and then you kind of get into it and I find it to be, I think we talked about this today, where like my Instagram is really like a resume,
Yeah.
where it's like it's who I am as a person, it's what I do. You can go on there, you can see my work, you can kind of get my vibe. Like it's if you don't like it, we're not going to work well together.
Yeah.
And especially the way that you're doing things, because you're having clients take a look at that kind of stuff too.
Oh, big
And
time, man. That's why I'm putting so much content on there. People don't
yeah,
understand. People actually, well, if they're listening to this, they'll know now. But
mhm.
uh, yeah, it's redundant. It's a lot of the same shit. But guess what? You know, when clients tell me that they like looked at 400 of my posts because they get addicted and they keep looking. So it's working. It's working for me, and my family knows it, and we all know it at this end. So it's like that's the part that but it is that's the main reason, dude. It's like if I was just on there for like just kind of a little bit of brand and kind of, but I'm like fully into this thing. I've like committed myself business wise for that purpose. So but yeah, it's been so it's like a win-win situation, man. It's like you're just winning in all directions, and you get to show your true colors and let people
Yeah,
decide for themselves if because that's a good thing about this. If you like somebody, you can keep chatting with them or kind of take it to a different level. And
yeah.
and if you just kind of think, yeah, that guy's kind of fucking vanilla, but he's all right, you just kind of
Yeah, and I mean, and there are people out there like that, and there's nothing wrong with it.
yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
but don't watch their 800. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's up to you as the viewer. Like
Yeah.
if you like or dislike something, that's your choice.
Oh
You
yeah.
don't have to follow everybody. You don't have to do this stuff.
Oh yeah.
But
I'm good. I lose, but man, I probably lose like 10 plus followers a week. Like no shit, man. Like I gain a bunch too, but
yeah.
that's okay, man. I understand that. Like I'm not for everybody. You're gonna see a lot of my shit. A lot of people probably mute me and shit, which is fine. But the thing is my customers aren't. They're seeing it, so that makes me really happy for that part, right?
That's the thing, man. Like when you're saying it's doubled your business, that's enormous.
Yeah,
When you're thinking about something that has been that big from a business aspect, doesn't matter what's going on outside of that. That's working. Continue doing
yeah,
that. And then when you're getting all these other little byproducts that kick ass, it's like this is a win.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
It's
that's
crazy. It's like the gift that keeps giving. Like I know it sounds
yeah,
real stupid, but it's like it literally is, man. And it's just like, but also too, like I heard Nate talking about it on one of your podcasts, how like he gets noticed and people, oh, it's
yeah,
Nathan, like he can walk around town. I mean, I'm in a bigger city, but it's not that I get noticed, but when I show up at these people's houses, because the first time they're seeing me is the first day I'm working there, because my wife does all
Mhm.
the quotes, right? So she goes out and measures, and then she
Brilliant.
takes all the quotes home, and she can mostly do them herself. But if there's something specialized, she'll show me like a vault or whatever, and
Mhm.
I'll say, okay, this much extra, and she does all that behind the scenes stuff. I'm just the worker.
Brilliant.
She does everything else like that goes along with the business. Like she does all those things. I don't go for material. My material is either delivered to me. Like when I'm going to site, the machine is going to site. That's what
Mhm.
happens. And we have it like a well-oiled machine, man. Like just
Mhm.
how the system goes, and it just keeps going and going, and and you learn so many things over the years, like not to be so much driven about the money,
Mhm.
but to be driven about if you're driven more about your quality and impressing people and
Yes.
earning the review. I mean, I have 520 reviews on Homestars, right?
Wow.
Yeah, like and I got a 9 point, I think it's a 99% rating or whatever. Those aren't by accident.
No.
I had to over deliver on every single one of those jobs to get those people to write a review for me, because
Yeah.
it's one thing, like you could have went to a good sushi place that you probably thought, fuck, I should have wrote a review for that place, but you just
Yeah.
haven't got around to doing it, or people have to, I literally have to impress them that much for them to write me a 10-star review, right?
Yeah.
And I found out how to do that, and I keep doing it on every single job I go to. And I'm so worried about reputation and quality and how I handle myself. But sorry, I took off on a tangerine. But
That's good.
the yeah, what was the purpose of that? Oh yeah, sometimes I'll show up at a person's house, and they actually are like really happy to see me because they've been following my
Yeah.
stupidness on Instagram, right? Like just being silly how I am, and they're just like they'll like make comments, and you've probably been there. People make comments about shit they've seen on there, or they'll something about my kids, or and that's a real fun part of it for me too. Is just kind of going. I've never been through. Yeah, I didn't think anyone ever thought I was like somewhat cool, right? But it's like
Yeah.
sometimes people do. It's pretty neat that way, man.
It's neat to be recognized. Like being recognized for your work is very important, but being recognized as like being a person, pretty cool.
Have you been
Especially
spotted ever?
um I mean, like when I do things with CSR and stuff, like I think people like, but it's never been like out in public or anything weird. Like that
Walmart.
I think that would be weird. You know what I mean?
Could you
Yeah.
imagine?
Maybe it has happened, but I don't think so. Nothing that like would have jumped out at me anyways. Like and it's that kind of stuff would make me uncomfortable if somebody like not in like a weird way, but like how do I react to that? Like that's the kind of a fucking weird thing. But I mean
I,
like
I I bet it happens to you at some point, man. You're gonna laugh when it does. You're gonna be like, "Holy shit!" I remember this conversation with Jamie, but I bet you somebody's gonna at some point just be like, "Hey, man, are you like the guy, the taper, like Brawley's dad?" I bet you that
it's
happens to you, man. Swear to
it's
God.
it's gonna freak me out. We went to the coffee and contractors thing at
Okay.
CSR, and it was just like you're meeting everybody. It's like a meet and greet of people from Barrie to get them to come to the store. Like just this is the community. This is like what the store has, and we had beers and like all kinds of stuff, and people know the good morning and like people will mention the podcast and it's like, how do you even know about the podcast? Like I just think it's this thing that like a seven of us do,
Yeah.
just because we're buddies or whatever, but it is pretty cool, man. um yeah, getting
I look
recognized by
forward.
your clients would be dope though, where
Yeah.
they're like following you and stuff.
Yeah, man. It's like literally like even the people that look at my stories every day, like I bet you there's I don't know, 15 to 20 of people I've worked for that just keep on they're still
Yeah,
interested in what I do, right? So that part of it really drives me, man. So like my page is really driven towards that. And
yeah.
then so it's kind of but I have that part of it down pat, even though it might seem like I'm kind of being annoying. But sorry everybody for the post, but that it really is working for me financially. So I'm very superstitious and I don't want to change nothing. So I'm just gonna keep pounding out the posts and either enjoy or just block me or whatever the hell you gotta do. But
And that's the whole thing is like you cannot gear yourself to pleasing other people online, like because you're just
yeah,
it's an unachievable thing to do.
Yeah, true
Um,
that, man. True that.
I think the smartest thing that I did in the beginning was start branding, because like you touched on this before, where it's like it's your brand, it's your reputation, right? So like I am light checking and doing stuff, and I'm like, no one is ever gonna fucking see this. What are we doing? And I'm like, my best, you know.
Yeah.
And then you're putting in all this extra work that probably nobody's gonna appreciate. But like we said before, oh, it was a different guy today, but he was like, nobody would ever see that, but if you and I were in a room, we would. It's that kind of stuff where I'm like, yeah, but like eventually somebody with a good eye is going to come in here and be like, what a good job. And they might not even mention it, but you know, they'll
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
I love that. Um, yeah, I think it's just so important. And, you know, your reputation isn't for everybody. It's for you. Like, how do you feel at the end of the day? And like, did you do your best? And I think that stuff is just so important. Um, that's insane though. 500 reviews.
Yeah, man. I swear to God, check me out. Like, call Jamie Payton and Drywall, and but I mean, I have a none of this has happened by accident, right? It's just been by like I live and breathe what I do. I'm a workaholic, I've always worked real
Yeah.
hard, but I like to work hard, and then when I get some time with my family, make it special, and try to do as much as I can. I mean, I miss them, man. You know what it's like working long
Yeah.
days. You really miss your
Oh
kids,
yeah.
and I get to work with some of them and that too, which is nice too over the years and that. But yeah, no, life's good, man. I'm enjoying life up in Ottawa, and it's we before here we were over in Newfoundland, so that's another story that we do that on a different
Hmm.
podcast. We'll do a Newfoundland. I'll tell you all about the adventure in Newfoundland. So
Perfect.
yeah, you'll love that one, man. I have all kinds of good stories about being on the rock.
I thoroughly enjoy like the name of your brand, how you say it. Like when you said goodbye today, you were like, you know, goodbye from called Jamie. You know what I mean? I sat down in the truck. I'm like, I fucking love that. Because it is like in the beginning, it reminded me of like Better Call Saul. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like they'll remember that. Like people are going to remember that and call you when they need painting and
Yeah,
drywall. Like it just fucking makes sense. Like that was a brilliant idea. And then when it's just kind of part of you and like how you compose yourself online, like Nate's howdy, right? And like my good morning. If my good morning was call Brawley's dad to fucking have a good job done, like it is brilliant that you do
it's,
that.
it's to the point.
It is, and it's it's delivered well. It's not like shoved down your throat, but it's there in every, you know what I mean? Like it's consistent and it's smart.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, I wanted to applaud that because it really is like the business aspect of that and like the marketing aspect of that is brilliant.
Thanks.
Um, yeah, man, and like sending around a bunch of gear. What started that?
That's just me, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like when people send me stuff, and as a
totally.
kid, I always loved getting parcels, and you get that parcel like shows up. My grandparents always lived so far. I was a military
Yes.
kid, like my dad was moving around a lot and that, but I get a parcel and I'd be happy, and I just I like sending it, man. It shows appreciate. Did you get my package, by the way?
I don't know. It'll be at my parents' place.
Okay, okay, that's
Um,
I know sweat, no sweat. But the sorry, but yeah. So I just kind of and the people I send them to are all people that have like touched me in some way,
yeah,
right? Like just like said something nice at some time, or just been like kind of seemed like they're there as a supporter and a friend in a way, right?
yep.
So just a way of just kind of me being me, dude. I don't know. Just it's just like I sometimes I wake up with these ideas and I'm a follow through. When I have an idea, I just like to follow through with it and just see how it goes, right?
Um, I had somebody talk to me about wearing my own branded stuff because I am just so into wearing other people's shit. Like
Yeah,
cam shirt, like when I get your stuff, it'll be in the rotation of what I wear, man. Just because
right
it's
on.
like, yeah, this is my buddy's, whatever. And it's
I love that.
I would much rather wear other people's stuff and like and do that because it's like it's cool. It's like you're part of the team now, kind of thing. And
Yeah,
I enjoy that. That's why I love giving people hats. And they're nice hats. So it's like, I don't know, you'll wear it, and it's comfortable or whatever.
Yeah, really
Um,
nice, man. I
yeah,
got one on right now.
yeah, good call. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got to do another run of shirts. The first time
Okay.
that I did it, it was like $1,100 or something stupid. I like a bunch of people got sweaters and I got a whole ton of shirts
Yeah.
and I like gave them all away in like a heartbeat. Like I didn't even get to send any in the mail because I had it in the Barry Grand opening. And I really didn't see any sort of kickback from that other than the specific people. Like Aaron's always wearing it. The same with Cam. I don't even think Cam got a shirt. I think he just got a sweater. Same with Nick. Like they just poof and they were gone. But I do need to do another run and just get some more shirts out there because they're pretty dope. And like mine are getting kind of fucking shrunk. Like in my content when I'm like doing stuff overhead, you can see my belly, you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
it's
I get
like
the same thing, man. I
maybe
get the
it's time for
same
new
thing.
shirts. um
Yeah, that's I got the exact same. I have to get talls, man, like just because I have a long
yeah.
torso. Yeah,
Yeah, and
pretty
I'm the
much.
same way, and I've got a big upper body too. So like I've got a big back, big chest, big shoulders. Like it that fills up a shirt pretty quick too.
Yeah, I
Um,
know the feeling.
Yeah, when you were talking about Borden, one of the coolest things that I did when I was working out of town is we did the frame board tape of the MP training facility in Borden.
Okay. No,
So
military police.
yeah, so we were staying in Angus across the street from that KFC in like a fucking motel, but we were there for months. And
Really?
yeah, it was dope, man. It was really cool. And like that was the first like showed up to a skeleton that wasn't a Walmart. Yeah, because that was effectively what we were doing in the beginning. It was the first like cool site. They had a big dojo with like a catwalk where the guy who's training would be standing and watching, and like there were so many cool things. The munitions room with the like it's like this sharp metal mesh. So
Yeah.
you've got drywall, then the mesh, then drywall. Like to get into this room, you've got to really want to get in there. And it was just like a bunch of cool stuff like that. And yeah, man, Borden was a cool place. We had drywallers show up. Like when they say drive 40 on base, they mean it.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
don't mean
hell yeah, man.
they don't mean 41. They mean
That's
40. Um,
Oh yeah. I grew up as a kid. I was there till I was 16 years old. We lived on base. My wife and I, we were kids together on a base together.
no way.
Yeah, we've known each other since we were what, grade four? Grade four. We live across the street from each other when we were little kids. Our dads were both in the army.
We had these
Yeah.
like trash drywallers show up. Their car reeks like weed. Like it was like it was not something smart to do on a military base.
White
And
Oakleys.
yeah, exactly. And it was in an H2 Hummer. Like it was like the stupidest asshole on site.
Yeah, I
And
know. I know that. I know that. I know that crew.
they pulled them over because they were speeding and they were just like, slow her down. Like, you know how they act. And
Yeah.
they gave him some attitude and they like, I think they did it as like a training thing. They stripped the fucking car. Like it took the seats out. Like, and then they're like, "Hey, you're good." And like these guys just put the seats back in, and we're like, "Guess we'll put them in later," like because they don't even know how the fuck to do it. It was crazy. And then on the same hand, I was driving a Mercury Sable back then. Like I didn't even
Okay.
have a work truck, and the snow was so deep that it like slid off of the road
Yeah.
into like as you're coming into Borden, how it's it's
Yes.
it's kind of
Windy through the forest there, kind of.
right, and I had lost it, and I kind of fell off, and I'm like freaking out because now I'm late for work, and these guys just kind of come by, and he hops on his mic, and then a few other guys come by, and like six guys move my car out of the ditch, and like I'm trying to help, but like what the fuck am I gonna do? And they just were like, "Hey, have a good day," and then they like went on with what they were doing. But so it was like really cool if you were respectful and like a good person. Like a military base is a hell of a place to be at as a civvy, like
You spent a lot of
um
time at the Canex.
No, we didn't spend any time except on site building. And like when we were
Okay.
done off, and then we were staying in Angus in that little motel, which is probably for the better because we were like every night was a rager. It was just crazy, man. It was like a tornado of like liquor store, come home, eat, drunk, hungover,
Uh,
eat lunch at work, finish the day, liquor store, come home, eat, drunk, hungover. Like it was just a mess. Um, but I mean, we learned a lot. I look back at those days and it's like, um, when people say I've got 5 years experience, it's like, okay, but do you have 5 years experience putting in 40-hour weeks? Because we were putting in Monday to the following Friday 12s.
yeah.
So it's like, so for every 1 year experience somebody has, I had like two and a half. And it was, you learn, man. And there's a special type of person that works out of town, you know.
Holy man.
It's
Is it lonely?
it wasn't because I had a girlfriend at home,
Yeah.
and you kind of make that family, like camaraderie, like you really do get to know people
Yeah.
that you're working with, and
They become your spouses in a way, but not
kind
in
of.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like your boss is like your boss, but he's kind of like the leader outside of work. What are we eating tonight? What are we doing this? What are we doing that? We had a dope setup. So, um, if you made lunch yesterday, you would wash dishes today. And if you wash dishes today, you're going to make dinner tomorrow, and then you're done until everybody else does that. So you would have like 3 days in a row that you had to be somewhat useful. And then you had like 8 days of just showing up, and somebody else was cleaning and somebody else was making lunch and somebody else was making dinner. And it was dope, man. Like we had
You
like,
hear that, babe? You hear that? I like that schedule.
it was a good deal, man. And like everybody was making good food, because if they made shit food, then somebody else is going to make shit food. And so like I would like go get steaks and stuff, because it was just like, we're going to eat real good. And then, hopefully everybody else eats real good. And then every once in a while, somebody would order like 5 pizzas and we'd be like, you fucking lazy fuck. Um, but if you're eating off of paper plates, the guy that's got to do the dishes is happier than shit about it,
Oh hell
because
yeah.
you're just throwing
He's
paper
out of it.
plates out. Yeah, totally. Right. Um,
He's just on cups. That's
yeah,
it.
it was a good deal, man. Um, yeah, we had that figured out, dude. And then, everybody got their money for working out of town. I think it was like 75 bucks a day or something like that. But when you're only paying for 2 meals a week, because
Yeah.
everybody else is doing the same thing, like we were living and drinking off of that allowance. So the money that we were making, we were taking home.
That was real good.
Yeah, it was a good deal. And when I say leader, like Pat was brilliant. Like he had that shit down to a science.
Yeah.
Now apparently he also had like a complaint book like this thick, so nobody would work with him. That's how I got the job right away. Um, but it was dope, man. Like you figure out people's quirky stuff and you just work with them. Uh,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
crazy,
it
man.
was cool, man. But yeah, baseboard, and what a good time.
What were you doing there? Like all general carpentry or
No, framing, steel framing, boarding, and taping.
holy shit, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was a big outfit. It was DBN Drywall Acoustics out of St. Catharines.
Okay.
But they had like major contracts with like Lowe's and Walmart, and every once in a while you would get these other ones that were like one-offs, but they were awesome.
Yeah.
The Hilton in Niagara Falls got redone one year.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, it was amazing. Um,
Did you see Wheelchair Rick? Was he cruising then or on his wheelchair? You see that guy on Instagram?
no,
Oh, you gotta check him out, man. He's
wheelchair Rick. All right,
Wheelchair Rick, man. He runs. I think he does 10 runs a day down Clifton Hill on his wheelchair,
no
and he does with
way.
his arms, and he's got a GoPro in the back.
Jeez.
He's just an animal, man. He races past cars and everything. Like, over the speed bumps, and yeah, he comes up on my feed. I pretty much watch his runs every day.
That's wild.
Yeah, he's a celebrity, man. Like if I ever go down there, I'm gonna. I don't know if you can donate to him or just help the
Yeah.
guy out, right? It looks like he's just looks like he's a little rough around the edges, but he's
Yeah.
quite the character. And he's like, yeah, next showtime will be 2:45. I'll be running the hill again there. People, he's giving people show times.
He's one of the attractions. Yeah.
Oh
He's
yeah.
got it figured out too. That's fucking hilarious.
How he gets away with it. I'm just like, holy shit, like he has a lot of followers too, like obviously, but he like how the bylaw or whatever hasn't haven't like ticketed him. It's pretty like he's pretty reckless, man. Like you watch him and see like he's hitting by cars and everything.
That's nuts.
He's weaving in and out of traffic.
So we lived in Brantford for a while, and there was a guy named Tom, and I don't know if he like bumped his fucking head or like what happened, but it was this the nicest guy. But he had like a bicycle
Yeah.
and he would ride around town, and I think he just kind of made his rounds and he would like we would go to the keg or whatever, and then you would just see him come in, and he would just every day, hi, how are you, hey, yeah, hi, how are you, and just fucking the whole restaurant, and then they would be like, hey, have it, see you tomorrow, and he would kind of fuck off again, and this guy was all over he was a celebrity too, kind of deal, and then eventually somebody stole his bike,
Oh,
and like overnight they not only were able to buy him a new bike, but it was like a dope bike. Because I think everybody probably put in $1 or something, but like when you are talking to like 500 people a day or whatever, like every business knows you, all the people know you. It was like a really cool thing, but it's cool how there
yeah.
are like very quirky people that in a different situation you would be like, this is a nuisance. But well, like when it's part of a community, you're like, this guy's fucking awesome.
Oh,
Uh,
hell yeah.
we'd have people in from out of town going like, what is this guy doing? And we'd be like, oh, just wait, he's gonna come say hello. And then he just went, ha, ha, yeah, 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 and he would like go do his thing. And it was just like, okay, man, and like it was just like a crazy thing that was happening. So like, I mean, now he wasn't like swerving in and out of traffic and shit. I can't wait to watch this guy that you're
Oh,
talking about.
you're gonna become a fan, man. Like
Oh
wheelchair.
my
Hey, babe,
God.
wheelchair
Wheelchair
Rick.
Rick.
You love. Oh yeah, even my kids. Hey, can we see wheelchair Rick? And oh yeah,
Shout
yeah.
out to Wheelchair Rick.
He's inspirational, man. Like what he's got the gloves and he's got the he puts his hat on backwards. He's this little skinny guy and he gets his arms and he's how I found him, I'm not even sure, but he popped up one day and he just been bringing me joy ever since.
Totally.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man, seeing stuff like that too. And but yeah, it's yeah. So what about your getting all your how you getting all your leads? Like you locked in with a couple builders now, or
It
pretty
is just
much?
a crazy word of mouth, man. Yeah, I
Nice.
don't have a website. I don't have any sort of like rating system, which is dumb because I probably should have. But I mean, in the beginning, it might have been done me a disservice. Like I'm kind of to the point now where my stuff is starting to get locked in pretty good.
Yeah.
So maybe I should. But I mean, in the beginning, I was on Facebook, I was on Kijiji, and I was turning down like 15 jobs a week or something stupid because and I was spending so much time doing that I was like, I think I'm done with this. Like, now I think with Instagram, you get some exposure with like prior jobs, you get exposure, like meeting people, you get exposure. It's been luck. It's been like crazy luck. Nick, the guy that I'm subbing for now, I only tape for him.
Yeah. What's his last name? Start.
Car, something like that.
Okay.
It's umbrella drywall. He's
Okay.
a
Okay.
hell of a guy. He's an excellent businessman. He's got it figured out. And
Yeah.
there are things where I'm like, hey man, if this is becoming a headache, just speak up. Like, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing, but like financially, I can make it better for you. And he's like, no, man, like it's part of the budget. Okay. Like I like my own beads. It's not what he does, but it's never an issue. Like he was using CertainTeed mud. I don't like CertainTeed mud. I like my CGC. I like what I like.
Yeah.
And it was a higher price point to what he was doing, and I'm like, I'll split the difference with you because it makes a difference in my finished product. And he's like, nope. but I'll just start to, that'll just be the price for the next ones. Like he'll take one hit kind of thing, and then on the next one it'll all work out. But I met him through Fresco.
Really?
Yeah. While we were down in Illinois doing the first adventure, Nick had, I don't know if Nick had him on the podcast or if he was asking questions, but Nick was like, you ought to reach out to Sean. He knows what's going on. If it's going to be a big project, we said from the very beginning, if you're interested in Fresco Harmony and you end up taking some like a too big of a bite,
Right.
one of us will come. We'll walk you through it. We'll teach you, and it's a good deal. And that's kind of how we got to know each other. And then around the corner from my house, there's an office building that loves the idea of fresco. So I brought a
Okay.
couple of sample boards over. They took a look at it, fell in love with it. We quoted it, and um, he's done a bunch of like marketing stuff. Like again, super smart in the business side of things, and he's just getting jobs that make sense that I do for him, and then I do what I do, kind of quote unquote best, and he
Yeah.
does what he does, and it's a hell of a relationship.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's neat. When I was running sites before, like Eric Bruckner is another big drywall guy, and he has enormous sites, like really nice sites. I come in for mercenary work, like I'll do tape days, or I helped him out with like 2 days of boxing the one site. It's just you meet people along the way, right? And
Yeah, that's
it's
cool, man.
I have no intention of being somebody's employee. Uh,
Yes.
and I think that's kind of attractive for people, where it's just like if I've got like a week or two's notice, I'm free. Like I can make myself free,
Yeah, that's the way to be, man.
especially for a couple of days or whatever. And I think it's cool, man. It's not, I wouldn't consider myself cheap by any means, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't consider myself overly expensive either, if you think about what you're getting.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the way to look at it, man.
yeah, it's been dope, man. So basically the polar opposite of what you're.
Yeah, hey, whatever works so man. Like I said, I had a different approach. Like even with us, like I have a $2,500 minimum, man. Like I'm not
Yep.
going out for anything. It's got to be 25. Oh, I have a small patch. Okay, my wife will say, well, that's our minimum. Like not that I'm super expensive, but it's just
Mhm.
like
It
my
doesn't make
time is
sense.
worth so much. And yeah, my time is worth so much to me. And like even people say, well, how come? Why do you have the minimum? Well, I'm not going to come do all my setup. Like when I set up a job, like you see the prepping I do, like
Hmm.
my wife does too, and we put a lot of effort into that, and we really protect your place, and we're going to give you a really good job. You're going to see, like, there's a reason why I'm going to come as advertised, right?
Hmm.
So it's that's in the price too. Like they got to pay me a bit extra for that. Like the other guy might be $1,000 cheaper, but what kind of job you looking for? Like,
Yeah.
do you want a slam dunk job? Do you want a job that you can pretty much 98 or 99% chance I'm going to come in and I'm going to crush this job.
Yeah. Mm.
So there's a price to that, man. You got to put a price on what you're worth, and that's what you're doing now. Like you have
Yeah.
to think to yourself, okay, like I'm never going to be a rich man. I'm never going to be, but I like to be like middle class and
Hmm.
be able to. If we want to go on a trip, let's go on a trip. If I want to get a new vehicle, or and it doesn't happen overnight, but it's nice to make a good living for your family, man.
Yeah, your needs are being met.
That's
And
it.
and
Yeah.
that's the way to do it. And I mean, when it comes to those minimums, this is the least amount of money that I'm comfortable making on this project, period.
Yeah.
And if they really want it done properly and it's just like a one patch thing, like that's the minimum, but you're gonna get what you're paying for. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna get what you're expecting.
Yeah.
And I mean, if somebody wants you that bad and they pay it, I'm for you, that's a huge win.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that when you've earned it.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Then I'll
I
pick
think
up. So
a
go ahead.
lot
Go ahead.
a lot of people sell themselves short where they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
but I feel bad. Why? That you're not wasting your time? That's stupid.
Yeah.
Um, Nate's kind of stumbling into this where he just kind of had a slam dunk where there was like three big patch areas. He went in again, huge shout out to Mudman Dan, right? Like he's got patching figured out.
Yeah.
So
Oh, big time, man.
Nate's kind of adapted that with like 5 and 20 and all of those things. So, I mean, what would have taken me probably 3 days? Nate was in and out of there in a single day. I'm in your hair for sure for a day,
Yeah.
and everything is done ready for paint. That's worth something. Like
Yeah.
if it's $1,000 a day or something, that seems expensive. But having some idiot in your house for 3 or 4 days, if he
Yes.
shows up for 3 or 4 days in a row,
Yes.
leaves a mess or does whatever he's doing, like that's worth that money all day long.
Yeah. Some people realize
Professionalism.
it.
Yeah.
Professionalism, yeah, man. You know it. Some people realize it and some people don't, right? That's the difference in our customers too. The ones we think are gonna go with us. I worked for three of their friends and you give them their price and they're like crickets, right? You're like, okay. But they went with somebody else come in for a lot of people get fooled by the price, you know. It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of a not in all cases. There's also I'm not the only good contractor out there. There's guys that are probably better or just as good or whatever. But it's I don't know. You gotta take pride in what you do, man. Like if you're whatever anything I do, I always no matter it's not my house, I want to make sure that if I come back in 3, 4, 5 years to do another job, I can look at my work and say, "Oh
Yeah.
hell yeah, man, still looks dope," you know?
Super proud of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then when you got that pride, man, and you have the way that you know how to please people, you know how to you deal with so many different customers over the years, you always know you know how your clients are going to be, right? There's always
Mhm.
those different types of clients and yeah, it's been a good ride, man. That's for sure. I've been definitely love what I do for sure. I don't know how many more years the body will handle it, but hopefully for
Mhm.
hopefully another 20, man. Who knows?
Yeah, dude. I mean, if you're loving what you do, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. Like it's I enjoy being on site doing what I'm doing. Like when
Yeah.
it's like stupid hours or it's like a lot or like real heavy detail work or whatever it is, it's stressful in moments, but the whole process, I'm in love with it, man. I love it.
Oh yeah.
So what else would you want to do? I had that thought. Uh, so when I left running sites, I was getting calls from headhunters,
Yeah.
and they're like, if you'd come back to work, this is what we'd pay you. And I just kind of started telling them to fuck off. Like, I'm like, listen, I'm going to give you an astronomical number. And if you come back with that, feel free to call me. And quarterly ish, I'll get emails and they're getting up around the number, but they're like in downtown Toronto, like in places I would never want to work. So it's so easy to turn down.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 months ago, the guy calls. I'm like, listen, dude, we've had this conversation. He's like, I know. And I'm like, yeah, but like, what I'm looking for, and it's unachievable. And he's like, it's not. It was around the corner from the house here. They're based. It was a 2-year project. It was a 180,000 start.
Oh hey.
Yeah, double year bonus, car allowance, like all kinds of shit. So I was like, I'm gonna take this fucking interview because it's like that's big.
Yeah.
And I went through the process. I called a few people. I got some like shining letters of recommendation. Like I would have had the job if I wanted it.
Yeah.
Um, but I was like, I remember what that's like. I remember being stressed. I remember bringing that stress home. I remember like not wanting to fucking go to work. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You
Wasn't
know,
worth it.
it's just not worth it. Like, it's just money. And like when you've got that money, you're going to fucking spend it as much as you think you're not going to spend it. You're so stressed out. You're going on 3 vacations a year.
Oh yeah.
Like what is the bridge of the gap? Like I am by no means making $200,000 a year as a taper. I'll be
Yeah.
very clear with that. But I
Yeah.
mean, 100% I would be drinking more. 100% I would be going and pissing away money on things to try and make myself happy because I was miserable. Like
Yeah.
you're trying to do extra stuff for your kids because you're being a shitty parent. Like
Yeah.
all of those things cost money. And
Oh, big
at
time.
the end of the day, what would the over under be? It'd probably
Yeah,
be
it's true, man.
less.
Yeah. At the end of the day, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. So like when I'm on site and things are stressful, that's the kind of stuff I think about. Where it's like, what else would you do then? If you don't want to do this anymore, what would you do? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, this is what I want to do.
it's what you love to do, man. It makes a big difference when you can still make and even right now you're making X amount, but you won't always be making that. You're only
Yeah.
gonna within time you're gonna increase like anything, right?
Hmm.
And that's up to you. The sky's the limit, man. Like yeah, you're talking to a guy that, I used to, I mean, I'm not making this guy, but I'm just saying
Hmm.
like like it's there, man. If you got the right work ethic and
Hmm.
which you can tell you do, like that's the biggest thing. If you have that work ethic in you, even when you're young, man, just go after it. Let your body can take it. You can go get it.
Yeah.
There's two type of people. There's people that will go do it, and there's people that think they can, but they never can do it, and they end up quitting because they just can't do
100%.
it. Right?
Um, I don't remember if it was my dad or my grandfather. I think it was my dad. But he used to say anybody can do 80% of a job. Right? It's that
Yeah,
there's only so many people that it's like once it gets hard, you're not going to finish. Like you're just going to fucking quit. So why are you even doing it?
yeah.
And yeah, it's
I don't know that
interesting.
feeling. I don't know the feel like that when you even say that out loud. That's the type of person I am. I mean, I have quit at some things in my life, but I'd rather not. If I can do anything I can to try not to, because
Mhm.
that feeling of quitting, just how shitty you feel in that moment.
I mean, the things that I quit, I'm pretty fucking happy about. Do you know what I mean though? Like I am
Yeah, true
not
that.
doing this anymore. Like it's not up for discussion. I'm just
Yeah,
not doing it. I'm quitting.
yeah.
And it's a decision. It's not like this is too much work.
But think about quitting school. Like you and I both quit school, right? Like
Yeah.
I do look back at that, and it's something that I wish I could change, just because I never did it.
Yeah.
But that is something that I quit that is definitely on my mind. I don't know about yourself, but it's always part of me. It's almost like a little bit of an embarrassment in the back of my mind that I kind of make into a joke, but it's still
Oh,
for whatever
dude.
reason it feels shameful in a way, right?
I'm so fucking proud of the fact that I didn't finish high school. I have like 9 high school credits. I have like a grade 9
Yeah.
education or whatever. And like when I'm sitting in a room with a bunch of educated people and we have a discussion and somebody brings up my level of education, they're like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Yeah." Like it doesn't mean that you're stupid that you didn't go to school. It just
Yeah.
means it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
And
True that.
yeah, I mean, I also take a look at people that I know that went to university and I'm blowing their ass out of the water with the kind of money that I'm making and I'm happy.
Yeah.
So what did your school do for you?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of pride in the fact of what I've done with no education.
Oh yeah.
It's hard work that right.
Yeah, no,
Um,
definitely me too. But yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
kind
know
of a
what you
catch
mean though,
22. Yeah, it's
because
a
it's
catch
like, do you have your
22.
high school? No.
Yeah. Well, I lie forever. I used to lie about it, right? Just so people say, oh yeah, because just to there's some things that you just have to not lie about, but it's just nice to just say something else. So you don't have to go down the rabbit hole of chatting about it.
Yeah,
So you just kind of give people what they want to hear. Yeah, okay, and then they just kind of move along, you know?
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. But anyways, we should probably I'm probably gonna hop off. I'm getting
Totally do. Yeah,
pretty sleepy and my wife is too, but I'd be happy to do this anytime again, bro. Like I said, it's I do like my THC oils for anyone that's listening out there. It's a big part of my life and
yeah.
it definitely kicked in tonight, so hopefully I didn't sound too stupid, but
No, this was a good one, man. This will be a good one.
I
Okay, so
appreciate it, bro.
where can everybody find you? Like websites and where are you at? And then we'll close it off.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Call Jamie Painting. It's all one word. Follow me there if you like, and try to make it myself as interesting as I can. And website is what is it? Call Jamie Painting. What is it? What's the website? Oh God, I don't know what the heck my website is, but could just put in Call Jamie Painting and Drywall
Let's
Ottawa, and
Google
then
it.
everything comes up there. All the things are
Uh,
sitting there. Yeah, but yeah, man, I really appreciate you having me on, man. It's been a great day. You definitely. I hope tomorrow's probably just gonna blow, man, because I had such a great day today. You know, when you have
yeah.
such a great day, the next day there's just a shit storm of nonsense. It just smokes you.
Well, I'm
Back
sorry
to
if I did
reality.
that.
No,
Yeah,
it should
man.
be good.
Thanks for coming on. It was dope to meet you. And yeah, we'll do this again anytime you want.
Ab- Absolutely, bro. I appreciate it.
Okay, everybody, be humble, treat everyone the same, and do your fucking job.